Hi, I'm Tiffany Jones,
I'm Kelly Lewis.
and we're your revenue insiders. Today, we're here for a bonus episode to hear a little bit about Kelly. Kelly, I know a lot about you, but I'd love for you to share a little bit of your background with everyone.
Yeah, of course. Hello, everyone. A little bit of background on me. I spent a majority of my career actually in sales before moving into enablement. I started right out of college in marketing for a couple of years. I did trade show booths. Quickly realized at the trade show booths, I had way more fun talking to customers than I did actually thinking about the logistics and the marketing behind the trade show. So they quickly moved me into a sales training program where I spent about the next 10 years as a rep in the field, traveling 5 days a week, selling to large health systems. After I had kids, I had that realization of, oh no, I can't travel like I was. I need to figure out what I'm going to do next. And so I made the kind of scary decision at the time. A lot of people questioned it, but I decided to go back and actually go work for a very small startup here in Seattle where I was doing kind of a mix of ops and sales development leadership. I wrote RFPs. I kind of did everything they needed as you do in those really, really small startups. And we quickly got acquired. And so I continued to grow my career with them where I became a sales leader and then eventually moved into revenue strategy and enablement.
Yeah, we actually met like right around that pivot in your career. And I remember you've told this story a few times, but when we first met and we, exchanged business cards and you laughed that I was in operations, but now I've brought you over a little
Yeah.
bit further to the dark side. Well, we're glad we have you. So you just made a recent announcement on LinkedIn, actually.
I did another scary career move, but one that I know is the right thing for my family. So I'm actually stepping back from work for a little bit. There's a lot going on in my life with my parents, and I'm going to take a couple months and recharge, help them figure out what's next for them, and then we'll figure out what's next for me. And I don't even know what that is, but excited to continue on with the podcast, working on this, and hopefully we'll stay in touch with everyone at my current organization, High Spot. They're just amazing, and I will miss my work there dearly.
Yeah, well, I feel lucky because I get to have you all to myself for the Revenue Insider. So you'll be sharing lots of insights in the interim, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't picture you stepping too far away from work. I don't think your brain works that way from as well as I know you. So
It was something that I never thought I would do. You know me very well, and it was a really tough decision, but sometimes you just have to reassess your priorities and figure out what's right for you and your family at any given time. And this is what's right for me right now. So, going to take a step back, but yes, I will be here on the Revenue Insiders. I'm not going far, and we'll figure out what's next after that.
great. So taking a step back from recent news, talk to me about why you made that change from sales leadership into that operations strategy enablement side of the house.
It's funny. I think as a sales leader, I found that I spent a lot of my time thinking about process, thinking about optimization, thinking about enablement. I spent a lot of time doing trainings with my team. And so it was actually a really natural move. And when you think about the impact you can make, for me, it was a lot larger when I went into revenue strategy and enablement than just managing that smaller sales team as a sales leader. So it was a scary thing to do. Walking away from a commission check is also a little bit scary because you're used to always having those goals and having that end of quarter stress. I will say I enjoy the holidays a lot more now that I am not a quota carrier, and a really, really good move. I think it was absolutely the right decision. There's a Sheryl Sandberg quote that says, "Your career is not a ladder, but more of a jungle gym." And I truly believe that. And that's been true for me. I've had ups and downs, I've taken steps back. But all of those have really, I think, been part of my journey and really helped me find what I do well and where I want to be in my career.
Think it's so interesting that you made that shift right around the time that you were becoming a parent, because I find that the skills that I use at work to be an excellent operations leader and strategist are often what we coin as the mental load that we carry as mothers, specifically in the parenting world. And so I find a lot of similarities in what I'm doing in the work to like, and maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should have a little less work mode when I'm parenting my kids, but I do. I find that there's a lot of that. And so I think it's really interesting that aligns with when you made that shift.
Oh, absolutely. I look at my oldest daughter now, and her negotiation skills are great. I think she will likely follow in my path. I also, we are headed out on vacation for a couple of weeks, and I was creating a document for the grandparents who will be watching the kids while we're gone. And it is a business document. It is
Yeah.
7 pages long. It has a table of contents. It has links. So yes, I think the way I work carries into my parenting style a lot.
So what is your favorite part about being in go-to-market strategy and enablement?
It is 100% the collaboration. It is so amazing to be part of a leadership team where you are strategizing, working as a team to solve big problems. I think in a lot of roles in business, you end up kind of managing your team in a silo. But the thing about go to market strategy and enablement is you are forced to have go to market alignment. You are forced to, as we say at High Spot, collaborate across boundaries. And so I really enjoy bringing large groups of people together and coming to decisions together and solving big problems. And yeah, I think that's it. I think I love the people part of the role, and that it's always changing. There's always a new challenge, and it's very hard to get bored.
Yes, that I can agree with that for sure. Part of your change, both from sales to operations, but you also moved from healthcare into tech. Like you have a pretty strong background and even education in the healthcare space. What was the biggest difference you noticed in changing industries, not just roles?
It was something I thought about a lot before I moved from healthcare into tech. And I think the biggest thing I realized is they're actually not that different. In my head, and during the interview process, when I was going into my first tech role, they were nervous. I had just had all of my experience in healthcare. I had, as you mentioned, I have my master's in healthcare administration. I had spent almost 15 years dedicated to working with large health systems. And so, was I going to be able to translate that to tech where you're dealing with very different types of customers? And I think that the biggest thing for me is it really wasn't that different. Um, there are different industry things you have to learn, but if you can sell and you can sell a technology, you really are okay. It's okay to make that move.
I think saying that and knowing that is so important for how we get more diversity in tech too. I mean, we're both in tech, but a lot of times in hiring processes, just like the nervousness you mentioned, people want to stick with people that have that tech
All the
background.
time.
And the reality is, especially in strategy and enablement, like the human behaviors don't change regardless of the industry. Your buyer profile changes, your personas, your ICP changes, but the concepts, and especially in the enablement space, like the adult learning concepts don't change drastically from one industry to the next.
Absolutely. I think as long as you're doing behavioral interviewing and you're understanding how a person thinks and how they're going to learn, you can absolutely transition skills from one industry to another.
So you have had a very impressive career. I don't know if I tell
Oh,
you that enough, but I'm
no, thank you.
always so amazed. I mean, I've never carried a quota or been in a sales role. And so it's always so fascinating to me the moves that you've made in your career. What is the one biggest thing that you would say has had an impact to shape the leader that you are today?
Oh, um, so many different things. I think I have had amazing mentors in my career that if you don't have a mentor, my one piece of advice is go find a mentor right now.
I don't have one.
Oh,
I'm going
let's
to
work
take
on
your
that.
advice. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take your advice.
Okay, let's get you a mentor. Yeah, you have to have someone that you can talk to that's outside of the company you're working at today. I think it's really, really important to have that. The other thing, and I'm sure we will talk about this on other podcasts, so maybe this is a teaser, but I've been through 18 M&A transactions, whether being
Yeah.
acquired or acquiring other companies. And that has put so much perspective in how I approach things in regards to change. And one thing I hear from leaders and peers of mine is that I am able to, and I see this in myself too, to adapt to change in a different way because I've gone through so much change. If you add that up, that's almost one M&A transaction per year. Actually, they all happened in about a 6-year period. So it was just a lot of change all at once. And I think that's just had a great and massive impact on how I think about things, how I scale my teams, and how I deal with challenges when they come down the road.
Yeah. Change is constant. It's the one thing that you don't escape. And the better you're set up foundationally to process it and manage through it, I think the better off you are at leading through things. It's vital. But I have
Absolutely.
not been through 18 M&As, so I'll look to
I mean,
you
I
for
don't wish it
advice.
upon anyone. I will say
Yeah.
that. But I do think it has made me a better leader.
So outside of maybe putting themselves someone in 18 M&As to go learn that, what's maybe a better piece of advice that you can offer someone that's an up and coming revenue or go to market leader in the space, or just, they're an individual contributor and they're looking to grow in what they're doing? What's your advice for them?
So I think there's a couple things. One is don't let your career trajectory as it is on paper hold you back from taking a new adventure. It has worked out for me. It will work out for you. I think it's so important that you try new things. Other one is, of course, is find a mentor. We are going to get you a mentor. And then the other one is think about the impact you're making today and what is the one thing you could do slightly different that would make a huge difference. There's a book that I love by Liz Wiseman called Impact Players. And if you haven't read it, highly encourage you to read it. It's all about thinking through the things that you can do that will make an impact and will set yourself apart from your peers. And it's easy. The book is so tactical that you can take things away from it immediately and apply it. I always have my teams read that book.
To get a mentor, I'm going to read that book. I'm learning a lot from our conversation here, so I hope everyone else is. Uh, Tell me, what are you most proud of in your career? What's something that like sticks out as a moment that really brings you joy when you think back to it?
We talked about earlier about what I enjoy most about my job, and it's the people. And I think that is also what I'm most proud of. I get
Mm.
so much joy from hopping onto LinkedIn and seeing team members that I've managed in the past or peers of mine that are having success. And so I just take a lot of pride in connecting, mentoring others, and helping others as they grow in their career. And I think that's part of the reason we're doing this podcast as well,
Yeah.
is there are so many individuals out there that are high potential and have so much ability to grow. They just need coaching. And if I can be that person for anyone, I take so much pride in that.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's such an important part of the role you play as you move into leadership, but even before formal leadership, like everyone has the opportunity to have that impact, and that impact can be huge when it happens.
Absolutely.
So what's next for you? You're taking a few months off. I know you, and I know you're not slowing down. Like I said before, we'll take your dedicated revenue insider focus while we have it. But what's next after that?
Well, I'm going to make a lot of Christmas cookies. I think the holidays are going to feel very different this year now that I'm not working. But I think after that, I don't know. Thought about a lot of things. Maybe I go run a very large enablement team. Maybe I do something larger where I'm thinking more on revenue strategy,
Mm.
including ops. Maybe I go into consulting. I don't know. There's a lot of things I'm thinking through. And so I will be working with my mentors and people I look up to in the business to kind of start having those discussions on what's the best next fit for me.
Well, I'm excited for us to learn about what that is in future podcasts and conversations. But thank you so much for walking through all of your experience today, Kelly. I know we're lucky to have you on the Revenue Insiders. Thank you, everyone, for listening.